Pike County Fiscal Court will be called to order. And Madam Clerk, have a roll call the members, please.
Judge Rutherford.
Present.
Magistrate Anderson.
Here.
Magistrate Johnson.
Here.
Magistrate Murphy. Here. Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dodson.
Here.
Magistrate Harris.
Here. We have a quorum. We now have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Magistrate Murphy. You have in your packets a minutes of the March 20th meeting. I need a motion to approve those meetings. Jeannie and I have gone over them and found them to be correct. Have a motion and a second. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson.
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson. Magistrate Murphy. Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dodson.
Yes.
Magistrate Harris. Judge Rutherford.
First, we want to take up something honoring a fellow that came to our assistance some time ago. About 4.5 or 5 years ago, our hallway that we know in front of the clerk's office was with pictures who was glued, pasted on the wall of our armed forces, active, and those who had served in which we call the Veterans Hall of Honor. When we got that concept and met with the Darrell Maynard of Southeast Telephone, the fellow who was employed by Southeast at that time, Ronnie Parsons, who's present today, came forth and said, "I'm a veteran, and I will assist you all in any way that I can." And what we said, that we're in the computer age, and why do we have to have all those pictures glued and pasted to the wall? So all of those pictures was removed, and we used the computer, and then we was able, in this hallway, won a national award as regard, and we've had people from Alabama and from Arkansas and from other states have made trips here to view that hallway so that they could go back and develop that computer system, a program that Ronnie Parsons put together for us. And we certainly want to show Ronnie our appreciation, and he's here today, and he's now employed by the Pikeville Medical Center. So we want to thank, of course, Southeast Telephone when they was in business, who he's employed by. And now we want to thank the Pikeville Medical Center because Mrs. Burke, Ronnie, where does Ronnie work now? Jeannie, you gave me this information. Where does he?
Right Concrete, Judge.
I'm sorry. Ronnie is with Rightway, a local, successful business by Pike Countyans, and great company, great company, great corporation. And we then want to thank Rightway, Right Concrete, and the Right Boys for making you available to Penny when she calls and says, "We got a problem with the audio or the video." Now we can hold 70,000 pictures. I think you told me before, Mr. Parsons, in that under our computer system. What a great asset that is to the county, and what a great asset. And we will have visitors during Hillbilly Days who will not only visit this hallway, Veterans Hallway, but certainly will be in Heritage Hallway. So, Ronnie, we have something to present to you today. And I would like for you to come around, and Brandon, you and Jeannie will have to show him where to stand over there. And Judge Hayes, before you can come around too if you want to, but very brief, Judge Hayes wants to read you something that the court has prepared for you.
This is a resolution honoring Ronnie Parsons for his community partnership by the Pike County Fiscal Court. Whereas Ronnie Parsons was born in Pike County and was raised in Floyd County, and whereas Mr. Parsons joined the Marine Corps in 1984 and during that time was deployed to many different parts of the world, and whereas at the end of his service in the Marine Corps and the Kentucky National Guard, Mr. Parsons had been awarded 20 decorations and/or awards, and whereas Mr. Parsons attended Big Sandy Community and Technical College and studied computer science, and whereas Mr. Parsons has assisted Pike County on several occasions and has lent his expertise for several county projects that have gone on to be extremely successful, and whereas Mr. Parsons has 5 children, Brandy, Alexis, Lakin, Anthony, and Austin, therefore, we do hereby proclaim Ronnie Parsons a community partner for his work assisting Pike County. Witness this by hand, this the 17th day of April, and the signature of each magistrate, the judge executive of the county attorney attached thereto.
If the magistrates come around, we'll get a picture with Mr. Parsons.
Chris wants an executive.
We're supposed to go down to the new Raven thing. Trial. No big deal.
Hey.
But you're right, there's no way.
Next on the agenda is the approval to renew CAECO All Lines Fund. We took that up in work session, and we had a presentation. Are there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Have a motion from Master Danner, second from Master Johnson. Have a roll call vote, please.
Master Anderson,
Yes.
Master Johnson.
Yes.
Master Murphy, Master Robinson, Master Dodson,
Yes.
Master Harris,
Abstain.
Judge Rutherford.
Yes. Need a motion to approve the renewal of workers' compensation. We took that up in the work session. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Have a motion and a second. Have a roll call vote, please.
Master Anderson,
Yes.
Master Johnson.
Yes.
Master Murphy, Master Robinson, Master Dodson,
Yes.
Master Harris,
Abstain.
Judge Rutherford.
Yes. Need approval, need a motion to approve refinancing the Hall of Justice debts. We had that taken up in a work session. Do I have a motion? Have a motion from Master Roberts, second from Master Murphy. Have a roll call vote, please.
Master Anderson,
Yes.
Master Johnson.
Yes.
Master Murphy, Master Robinson, Master Dodson,
Yes.
Master Harris,
Abstain.
Judge Rutherford.
Yeah.
Judge, to save some time in the future, if we could do a motion, authorize you to sign the necessary papers, that'll save us having to bring it up again.
Madam Clerk, please note that authorize the County Judge Executive to sign the signature on all the documents prepared.
Rolling. Rolling. Rolling.
I don't think we need a motion to approve the pub links because what the board does over there is an independent board. Only thing we want to say that our employees will stay until the last day of June this year, as we stated in the work session. So you all can move forward with the plan, and I commend all of you for it and your dedication to keeping this, as Charles Carlson and I have talked, what an asset this is as we work to bring jobs into this area and to have a public golf course available. Thank you all. And as far as the county government is concerned, we cherish this relationship, and we know that we're going to be successful. And it helps us so much in regard as the treasurer stated earlier, as we try to start working through this budget process that we're in.
Judge, ask Roland if we need a motion on Mr. Barnes' resolution. On Ronnie Parsons.
It's next. Just ask for a motion to adopt the resolution.
Judge Hayes read the resolution on Ronnie Parsons. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
I have a motion. Have a second from Mr. Murphy. Have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy? Yes. Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes. We are proud of our Pride program in Pike County, and Jimmy Dale Sanders, who is our Pride director. But each year during April, the county government joins that each year that they have it, and we want to proclaim April of 2012 as spring cleanup, as for people to paint up, fix up, and clean up their property around the county, and to work with the Pride system, and also for Commissioner Hatcher. He also gets the road department involved in your all's districts, and they clean up the ditches and the creek. The largest cleanup that we've had was Magistrate Dodson's cleanup that we had in Phelps about 3 years ago, when we took a vast amount out of that area during the cleanup, and it was a success. We participate with the Pride people. We count the tonnage, we count the bags, and Pike County has been recognized as one of the leading counties in the 5th District of Congressman Rogers' program of Pride. And to do that, the county government needs to be involved in it, but we need to get our citizens involved. The weather's opened up, and the paint up, clean up, fix up needs to begin in this county, and we certainly, all of us, need to be involved. Do I have Judge Hayes, would you read that proclamation, please?
Judge, I will, and I might add that I appeared on your behalf at the mouth of Little Robinson Creek on Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock, together with the National Honor Society of Shelby Valley High School. That group cleaned up about 2 miles of the road. I couldn't make it beyond a few handfuls, but that was a great time we had out there at the mouth of Little Robinson, and very appreciative of the effort of all these groups to clean Pike County. This is a resolution declaring April 2012 as Spring Cleanup Month by the Pike County Fiscal Court, whereas the natural beauty of southern and eastern Kentucky is a treasure for its residents and tourists, whereas good stewardship of this distinctive environment is beneficial for the health, enjoyment, and economic prosperity of the residents of southern and southeastern Kentucky, and whereas the Pride Initiative encourages residents of southeastern Kentucky to take personal responsibility for the good stewardship of the region's exceptional environment, and whereas the annual Pride Spring Cleanup is an opportunity for residents to demonstrate personal responsibility by volunteering to pick up litter along roadsides and roadside ditches, and whereas Pike County is participating in the Pride Spring Cleanup by organizing cleanup events and recruiting volunteers, therefore, it is hereby proclaimed that the month of April 2012 is Spring Cleanup Month in Pike County, Kentucky. Be it further resolved that all residents of Pike County are encouraged to participate in the Pride Spring Cleanup Month. witness this hand, the 17th day of April, 2012, executed by all 6 of the Pike County magistrates, the judge executive, and the Pike County attorney.
Do I have a motion? Have a motion from Magistrate Robinson, have a second from Magistrate Murphy, have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson? Yes. Magistrate Murphy? Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dotson?
Yes.
Magistrate Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes. We need authorization for an order of affiliation for the Pike County Technical Rescue, and we always, as Doug Tackett says, is happy when we see something like this come before us, because we certainly need more rescue in the county available to our emergency services. So Doug Tackett, briefly give us the request that you have today.
Okay, this is a request by Pike County Technical Rescue, which is a group of fire departments that are sharing resources to put this together. It's Belfry, Blackberry, Upper Pond, and Johns Creek currently, and they're bringing some others on as time progresses. Their main goal is to put together an urban search and rescue team, which is a type of team that's needed. They worked in the tornadoes in West Liberty and worked with urban search and rescue teams there to clear buildings, to make sure everybody that was in a building was removed safely. That's their primary focus, but also ground search and rescue, rough terrain, extrication, and high angle services are also their specialties.
And that means the plane crashes and all that we
Yes.
have. And, do we have a motion to approve their affiliation as it's required by the Kentucky Revised Statutes? Have a motion from Magistrate Johnson, have a second from Magistrate Robinson. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy? Yes. Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dotson?
Yes.
Magistrate Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes. I have an announcement to make. At 1 o'clock this Saturday at the Breaks Park, there are job fair for summer jobs. That's youth jobs, and it's this Saturday, 1 o'clock, Breaks Park, jobs fair for summer jobs. Next, we have on the agenda today authorizing to execute lease agreement with Pike County Board of Education. Mr. County Attorney.
Judge, we have a lease agreement. This is a joint venture by the Pike County Board of Education and the Pike Fiscal Court. In order for some funding for the Pike County Board of Education to get some funding, they have to have it approved by the State Board of Education, and they're requiring an amendment to the terms of the lease, providing that the school board shall have control of the recreation portion of the center, but also in that same paragraph, it is provided that the Board of Education shall work with the fiscal court for scheduling of non-school related activities. Magistrate Dotson has passed on some concerns of the seniors in his area, and as usual, Magistrate Dotson is a forceful advocate for his constituents, but I have talked to him. I think that he is somewhat reassured at least, and I have talked to Carol Napier extensively, and I think that this language gives the school board what they need in order to get the funding, and I think it gives the sufficient protection to our seniors. I would recommend approval so that we can complete the funding on this project and get this very wonderful project completed for the seniors in that area, and also help the school also. So this is one of those projects that, in my opinion, has been a win-win for both the school board and the fiscal court, and I would recommend passage. It would require a motion.
Ms. Napier, do you have a statement?
Judge, as Mr. Case pointed out, we did make sure that the protection of our seniors, as you're aware right now, the seniors are using the community center 3 days a week, which is Tuesday through Thursday, and that's why the last sentence in paragraph 5 was added, so that they'd be able to use the facility when it's not in use by the students. Also, I might add, Judge, as I talked to Magistrate Dotson before the meeting, that there will be a room that will be situated in that portion of the building that will be primarily for the use of the seniors. It's a large recreational type room that they'll be able to utilize for, if they want to get a pool table or different things. So we're pleased with the language that's set forth here in this lease agreement, and I concur with Mr. Case that we are protected under that.
Thank you, Ms. Napier. Magistrate Dotson.
Judge, I had some concerns on the language that was in the agreement, and it says the school shall use the building, and they shall be the one to set the times and dates, I guess, when anybody other than the school can use it. And when we built the building, we built it for a multiplex building for our kids and our seniors. And I was just concerned about protecting the seniors down the road. There's going to be a time and point when we're not going to be here to look after them. And if the language don't read them the rights to be able to use the building at their pleasure, then they might have a problem. But our county attorney says, that the way the lifeline is on the contract, that they will have to, the school will have to work with the fiscal court on scheduling the use of the building. And, we want to see the kids use it, but also we want seniors to use it, and we don't want to have a controversy over the building over there. And in the past, we have had some issues arise, Carl can tell you, over the seniors and the children. We had 2 different programs that was sponsoring that, had 2 committees. One was for the kids and one was for the seniors. And I think we've got all that worked out now. And hopefully, when we get the building finished, we've been at it long enough, and we have got a lot of seniors that's they've outgrown the building that they are in now, and they're anxious to get into this building. And I hope it won't be another 6 months or a year to where we can see construction started on it. But I would like to go ahead and make a motion that we change this contract if it's what I need to do, Roland, and hopefully, things will go all right.
Motion by Magistrate Dodson, have a second? Have a second by Magistrate Harris. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson.
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson.
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy. Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dodson.
Yes.
Magistrate Harris.
Yes.
Judge Ruthford.
Yes. We have to adopt a resolution authorizing County Judge Executive to sign an agreement with the Corps of Engineers for law enforcement service at Fish Trap Lake. Back in 1972, we realized anybody that was cited for throwing out garbage, any violation of the law. This is me signing the last year with the sheriff. But in 1972, Bill Deskins was the sheriff, and when the Rangers would cite somebody at the Fish Trap, Charles, they had to go to court in Ashland, Kentucky. They had to go before a federal magistrate in Ashland, Kentucky, no matter what the charge was. So I made a trip to Huntington, to the general at that time, and said this is not fair to the people of this county, that they shouldn't have to drive to Ashland, Kentucky when they're cited. And really, to my surprise, the general looked at me and said, well, I agree with you. So let me see if we could come up with some way to authorize the chief law enforcement officer of the county, which is the sheriff, to provide an officer, and that we will repay him the salary, so that they will work the area, both at the marina area at the dam, and also at the other end at Grapevine. So starting in 1973, if I remember, we have Pike County government has had that in force. They still have it. Jeannie is setting up for the sheriff and I to get with Mr. Holbrook or the ranger, or ever who they have with us, so that we can get this signed and executed. And we're asking for a motion to authorize the county judge executive to sign this document and get it back to the Corps of Engineers, so the Pike County Fiscal Court can be repaid and the sheriff can assign his deputy. Any questions?
Judge, I'd be glad to make a motion to that effect, and also I'd like to make a motion that we look to get a a deputy to start patrolling and citing the people on our highways. You know, we have our inmates every month. They'll come out and they'll clean up a road, and 2 days later they're throwing it right back in there. And you know, our roads are just as important as our waterways, and I hope that we can, as a court, work out something to where we can get our sheriff some kind of funding to where he could get a special deputy or get his deputies, you know, to monitor it a little bit and see if we can't get some help for our county.
We'll look for funding, but as you know, funding today's economic climate is about nil for those type things. But we'll certainly keep looking for funding as time goes by and see if we can get the sheriff money that he can assign somebody to those duties. Have a motion by Magistrate Dodson to have a second.
Second.
Magistrate Murphy, have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy? Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes. The next one, we have a resolution naming April 28th, 2012 as Autism Awareness Day. Now, this is the 4th year that Pike County government, Pike County Fiscal Court, has sponsored a Autism Awareness Walk. And I know that autism is something that we've continued to say for the last 3 years and will continue to say this year. But what has happened, the federal government have finally got their data out about a month and a half ago, and it showed that 1 out of 81, I believe, Jeannie, was the figure that we had. Every child in that figure in America was autism. And that is an awareness. It's a child when it's very young as 2 years old, can get parental awareness, parental participation, parental therapy through the medical health field, that a child with autism can get to 90 to 95% as they become older and can take their place in society, can marry, have children, and be a productive citizen in this country. A lot has happened since we as a county government started this awareness walk. Scheduled again this year is Saturday the 28th, 10 a.m. in front of the Expo Center, Main Street, and people need to come out and participate. Imagine what we can do to help these children with autism. We have had legislation filed. We have a senator from this county, Jones, that filed in the state Senate. That was the last session. That was before the data come out recently, and the bill didn't get a lot of support in the state Senate or the Kentucky House. But since this federal government has given their release and their data and what's going on in autism in America, I'm sure that when future sessions come up, that action will be taken by the Kentucky General Assembly. Also, I am a member, and Carl Napier is a member of the County Health Board. We have discussed this at our meetings of our autism, and we as a board fully understands now. We discussed the latest data that's released from Atlanta, from the Disease Control Department of our federal government, on this disease that can be conquered if at a very young age. And I commend Jeannie, I commend Cindy and Stephanie and everybody that's involved in county government for starting this awareness walk. This is the 4th year, and it is something that is going to spread throughout this country since the federal government has acted and made available the data that we have presently. Do I have a motion? And I want Judge Hayes to read the resolution first, and then I'll ask for a motion.
Resolution naming April 28, 2012 as Autism Awareness Day by the Pike County Fiscal Court, whereas April is Autism Awareness Month. Autism spectrum disorders affect young people and adults of every background, and millions of American families know the weight of their impact. On Autism Awareness Day, we recognize autism as a growing public health issue and recommit to supporting those living with autism and their loved ones. 1 out of 88 children born in America have some type of autism. And whereas we have made great strides in our understanding of the autism spectrum, and today children and adults with autism are leading independent and productive lives, however, barriers still remain for those individuals and their families. As a nation, we share a responsibility to ensure persons living with autism have the opportunity to pursue their full measure of happiness and achieve their greatest potential. And whereas the Combating Autism Reauthorization Act provides critical funding for autism research, education, early detection, and support and services for children and adults. Under the Affordable Care Act, new insurance plans are required to cover autism screenings and developmental assessments for children at no additional cost to parents. Insurance companies can no longer deny coverage to children with pre-existing conditions, and young people can stay on their parents' health insurance plan until age 26, easing financial burdens for families. Substantial investments in enhancing education for children on the autism spectrum, from early learning to higher education. Federally funded research continues to explore how we can improve independent living, develop assistive technology, and advance vocational rehabilitation services for individuals with autism. And whereas we are moving closer to a world free of discrimination and full of understanding for our family members and friends living with autism, the annual East Kentucky Autism Walk is Saturday, April 28, 2012, beginning at 10 a.m. in the front of the Eastern Kentucky Exposition Center. Now, therefore, the Pike County Fiscal Court does hereby proclaim April 28, 2012 as Autism Awareness Day in Pike County, Kentucky. Everyone is encouraged to learn more about autism and what each individual can do to support those individuals with autism and their families. Witness my hand. This is the 17th day of April, 2012, and executed by each of the 6 magistrates, the judge executive, and the Pike County attorney.
Do I have a motion? Have a motion, have a second. Have a second, Magistrate Robinson. Have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson? Master Dotson?
Yes.
Master Harris?
Yes.
Judge Ruth?
Yes. Next, we have acknowledgment of receipt of the audit of Pike County. As I stated before, I've been here 6 terms. Cleanest audit I've ever seen. And I commend the treasurer, the finance director, and the staff for the job you did. What our local paper did, they didn't read it. They just nitpicked it as usual and negative, and had to put story out on the front page. They didn't say what the auditor said is a clean audit, and made no further recommendations on it. So it is a clean audit, so I need a motion to acknowledge the receipt of the audit and accept it by the Pike County Fiscal Court. To have a motion.
Motion.
Motion, Magistrate Anderson. Have a second, Magistrate Murphy. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy? Yes. Mr. Robinson? Master Dotson?
Yes.
Magistrate Harris?
Yes.
Judge Ruth?
Yes. Acknowledge the receipt of the Pike County Conservation District budget of July 1, 2012 to June 2013.
Motion.
Got a motion and have a second? Have a second, have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy? Yes. Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dotson?
Yes.
Magistrate Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes. Acknowledge the receipt of the Pike County Extension Board budget. I am a member of the Extension Board, and it is a important Extension Board, does so much for the use of this county and the education of the people of this county. And the 4-H club, I can remember when I was in about the 3rd grade, Frankie, I'm walking down Main Street in a parade, and the streets, Carl, run the other way then. Streets ran the different direction. But I looked up at this courthouse, and that's the biggest building I'd ever seen in my life, and being about the third or fourth grade. Had no idea that the Lord had something in store for me in future years to be in a position that I was later in here. But the Extension Board budget, we need to acknowledge the receipt and the filing of it with the Pike County Fiscal Court. Do I have a motion? I have a motion by Magistrate Murphy. Do I have a second? Have a second. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson.
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson.
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy. Yes. Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dodson.
Yes.
Magistrate Harris.
Yes.
Judge Rutherford.
Yes. I would like to make the recommendation of Jack Sykes to be reappointed as a member of the Golf Board. We know his dedication, and we heard it today. We know how passionate he is in regard to to be given the leadership to that board. And any questions in regard to it or statements you want to make? And if not, I need a motion.
Motion.
Have a motion, have a second. Magistrate Robinson, have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson.
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson.
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy. Yes. Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dodson.
Yes.
Magistrate Harris. Judge Rutherford.
Yes. We know the next fiscal court meeting that we always attend, and the co-prep in Lexington, and it is on run from April 30th to May 3rd, and we have a court meeting coming up, and we asked Jeannie to get with the treasurer and the finance director and the county attorney, and to make sure that we pick today to comply with the statute in regard to preparation of our budget. So this morning they gave me the date of Friday, April the 27th, and our budget is due, I believe Jeannie said, on May 1st. So any questions in regard to that? If not, we will have a special meeting of the Pike County Fiscal Court, which will be May 27th on Friday. Have a motion.
You said May or April?
Excuse me, April 27th.
Okay.
Thank you.
10 in the morning.
10 o'clock in the morning.
Huh? 10?
10.
Okay. Yeah, I'll make a motion to that.
A motion, Magistrate Murphy. Have a second. Have a second. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson.
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson.
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy. Yes. Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dodson.
Yes.
Magistrate Harris. Judge Rutherford.
Yes. Have awarding of bids. No bids today. Magistrate road work. Magistrate Anderson,
Motion.
have a motion. Have a second. Have a second. Magistrate Murphy, have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson.
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson.
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy. Yes. Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dodson.
Yes.
Magistrate Harris.
Yes.
Judge Rutherford.
Next is magistrate comments, and make sure you have your microphone on, as Al Greenfield has said. Please have your microphones on, because he gets as much flack as we do at my office when they're not on. So, District 1.
I don't have any comments, Judge.
Magistrate Johnson.
I don't have anything, Judge.
Magistrate Murphy.
No, not right now.
Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dodson.
Yeah. Judges, just bear with me. I've got a few items we need to talk about today. One of them is I was contacted about opening up another horse ring over at McCarr. See, we used to have one over there before we built our senior housing, and we had some people that want to do it themselves on some property if we would give them permission. And they were wanting to come to court today, but they didn't show up. But it's some flood property that we acquired through the Corps of Engineers on the other side of the creek where we built the new housing project over at McCarr. And they were interested in cleaning it up and using it for a horse ring. And I told them we would have to probably get with the court and Jimmy and find out exactly what we own over there and get with the county attorney to see what kind of lease or whatever that we would have to do to give them permission to use that property.
Mr. County Attorney, would you assist the magistrate in seeing how could we become involved legally?
I'll be glad to assist them. The primary issue obviously is going to be the insurance, because if they put a horse ring in charge, then the owner of the property is going to become liable, and we'll need to check with our insurance carrier to see about coverage on it. So there are some liability issues that will have to be discussed before we allow the use, particularly if they're going to charge for the use of the ring.
I'm so glad.
Well, what I understood was they weren't going to charge. They were just fixing something up for the community and themselves to use at the pleasure, when they wanted to go out and ride their horses. And it's a big piece of property over there, Jimmy. It's on the other side of the bridge. Yeah, down next to the river. Yeah.
Mr. Kaiser, would you get with them too in regard to that, with the Magistrate Dotson and the county attorney? And since it's in that property, the floodplain property?
Well, Judge, that's one thing I want to talk about, and I told him I'd bring it up. And another thing is, me and Damus has been talking about the swimming pools, and we've been they've got the men over there doing some work removing the kiddie pool, which was one of the requirements that our inspector had requested. And our pool is looking pretty good. We have still got a problem with it. And me and Damus met with the contractor that had came in and tried to find some leaks. The pool is not leaking itself, but it has a stainless steel trap on top of it. I guess I'm saying it right, ain't it, Damus? That the water, you want to try to explain to them, more about the construction end of it than I do. What's the problem there?
It's the gutter around the pool is what it is, and it is leaking. He says it's the line from the pump to the pool that's leaking. That's the problem on it. He says he can fix it. And as you was there, he said he could guarantee it this time, and he's supposed to got a quote to us. I haven't seen anything.
He gave me the quote, and I apologize for not giving it to you before the meeting, but I have it here, and it was less than $20,000.
The question that I have was this the same contractor that had the contract on fixing the pool?
Yes.
Was what he put in, that gutter you called it, was it put in under this contract?
No, the gutter was already there. He was just checking the line coming from the pool back to the pump. On the that's what the other contractor's for.
Okay, all right, go right ahead.
But Judge, this proposed contract that he gave us, it was for $18,694, and he says that he would repair the leaks around the perimeter of the pool, remove the concrete, excavate, weld the leaks, and repair sections of leaks, install anodes, replace concrete that has been removed on these repairs, and the estimates would include all the materials, mileage, and labor for repairs. Or he would do it on an hourly basis, wasn't it, Damus? And he said it could be a lot cheaper because he might find the leak immediately once he starts digging, and he would cease the problem right there. Wasn't that way you understood it?
Yes, he did guarantee that he could fix it.
Do we need to get another proposal, Damus?
We could get another one, yeah, just to see.
Why don't you get one and bring it back up to us?
Well, he can give it to you, or what,
Madam
y'all
Clerk,
can look at it.
make this
and
part of the
if we can get
record.
another one, that's fine. But
Yeah.
ever how we need to do it, we've already spent quite a bit of money on new filter systems, and the pool is trying to get it up and going. I don't know if we'll be able to run it this year or not. It's a situation, I guess, on the finances.
Well, correct, and of course, a lot of people is wondering why we're spending this money on the pool. Well, you got to remember, this was money already allocated for this purpose, to fix the pool. So if we didn't spend the money, we'd have to probably end up giving it back to somebody. So that's the reason that we've been getting this pool, trying to get it ready, and before it's open them this year, the court will have to make that decision. But as with the shortfall we got, starting out, looked like $2 to $3 million. Very doubtful where the pools will be open. But this money has to be expended, or the money that's been available, or we would lose it.
Judge, that one of the reasons that we're so far in bad shape on this pool, and I would like to recommend and ask the court to bid out the running of the pools just in case we do have the money to open it up. And I know the YMCA has showed that they're not really interested in the one at Freeburn, and the other two pools is over in Chicks and Chris's, and I want them to chime in and help me try to get this thing lined out. But I was hoping that we could maybe ask for bids on how much.
I think if the pool was in workable condition, that the Y would be meeting with. I don't take a part in. I'm treasurer of the Y. Judge Hayes handles that. But I think if the pool was brought up to standards, they have no problem of operating the pool.
Judge, I have a problem with the Y at Freeburn, and I hope Damus can confirm what I'm going to say. You would have to go over and see the condition that the pool has got in over the last few years by them not taking care of it. And that is why we're having to take so much time and money to try to bring it back up to par to where it would be safe to operate.
Well, we've had so much vandalism over there.
We can blame vandalism, but, I've got reports that the lifeguards would sit out back and not open the gates. These are the people that work in the community center beside of it. And if it got cloudy, they'd close the pool up.
Sure.
And they wouldn't do no manicuring or landscaping or keeping the pool up to par. That's just some of the reports that I've got. And the why, I don't know how they do, Chris and Chick, but I'm going to let them say something right now, if they will, before I finish.
Well, our experience with the Y has not been a very good one. I mean, I think that we maybe had two different ideas as to what we expected of the Y and what they were willing to give us. But I would agree with you that I don't think that relationship is one that was very good for the county. And if we're going to go forward and have any chance of opening the pools this year, it's probably going to be doing it on our own rather than going through the YMCA.
Right. Any other statement? If not, go ahead, Mr. Dawson.
Judge, also, if we could maybe run the pool like we did years ago with county people. We pay about $85,000 a year to the Y to operate them three pools. They run about 2.5 months, usually about 2 or 3 weeks before they close it. When school starts back, they close the pools down. So we're not getting the use of the pools, but I guess because the kids that are running are going back to school.
You have to have certified lifeguards. You got
to have certified lifeguards.
Square footage of the pools.
Only problem I got that with him, when I had it up there, when two's supposed to show up and there one wouldn't show up, then you have to go there and tell them people. Now, it's the only good thing about the YMCA. They tell you they're going to have somebody that's there. But if you didn't have somebody come in certified, to let them go in swimming, here you'd have to tell them people to go home. I've run into that a lot of occasions with that, That's the only good thing about the YMCA, that you won't have to send them back home and you ain't got nobody to run the thing. And some will work a while, you think you're going to be good, and before you know it, you wouldn't show up. You'd have to hire somebody else,
Well, Chick, we would have to turn to Damus or whoever's going to be in charge of them employees as our public employees.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what y'all want to do, but, I'd like to see it, Johnson Bottom Pool opened up this year.
I'd like to see Virgin Pool open too. I sure would.
It's very doubtful with the $2 to $3 million shortfall going in on the budget, not what else we got to look at, but a shortfall on the front end of the budget of $2 to $3 million. There are going to be vast decisions this court's going to have to make to present a balanced budget under the Kentucky statute. I mean, we got a lot of tough decisions to make as a court in regard to a budget. And I don't see, that's only my observation, I don't see any way that swimming pools could be reopened anywhere in this county. Plus, there are going to be other things closed. Senior citizens are already cut their days. They're going to be cut again. Didn't get the $600,000 in for your road patching and resurfacing to match your tax money, to match your general fund. That's included in what I'm saying. You didn't get your debt service in the budget. So if you total it up and see what it comes to, you're starting out in a hole. This county is in dire trouble in regard to revenue to operate the county on. And we are down, I believe Judge Hayes said 50 employees, thereabout 50 employees that this county has had at its highest peak. And now we're down that far, we're going to have to go on down. And it's not going to be the people on the back of garbage trucks that makes the minimum wage. It's going to be the high price, the people that makes the big money. And we would have had to cut 22 off, but Judge Hayes and Brenda, and we realized that we was going to have the problem that we had, and they didn't fill positions. Just look at the positions throughout county government, not been filled. Solid waste, they got hit with 8 employees gone. No way. Pick up what they pick up and this challenging mountain terrain that they got. There's no way that they're going to take another. They're going to have to. How we're going to operate, we as a government, that govern this county, have got very tough decisions to make.
Judge, you give us a good idea of what we need to do, and I'm willing to start. I'm ready to. I'll take a 10% cut in my pay if you will, and the rest of them, and then ask all the commissioners take a 10% cut in their pay. We'll start there and work our way down.
$2 to $3 million. That's nothing. I'd be glad to do it, but that's no money.
But I mean, we got to start somewhere.
That's no money.
But we'll start somewhere.
Don't solve any problem. Under the Kentucky statute and Constitution, we have to have a balanced budget.
We'll do it, one way or the other, I guess. We always have.
Well, I said we'll have these decisions.
But, I think we need to, and I didn't mean to get into all this budget issues, but I think we need to go ahead and bid out the running of the pools in case we do get them opened up.
I don't think there's any way in the world you're going to open up swimming pool.
Well,
You're going to be lucky to have your road lots and your road employees and the blacktopping done.
I guess they'll just have to go up to the breaks and swim in, won't they?
But that's only my observation, and I've been here a long time, and I've never seen anything like we're facing this year.
But I want to make a motion. I don't know if anybody will second or not, that we bid out the running of the pools.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second, have a roll call vote.
And have it prepared in case we do get it opened up. And then...
Have a motion and a second, Madam Clerk, have a roll call vote.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy? Yes. Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
No. Magistrate Dodson.
Well, Judge, I guess the next thing if we ain't got no money to open the pools, they need to bring this up. Some of the people wanting to see if we could put some fish in the fish pond over at Blackberry Senior Citizen Center, in that pond there at Blackberry. But if we ain't got no money to open the pool,
Got no money to buy fish, but the state does provide fish at no cost. So
well, Chris gets them, but I ain't never got none on.
We'll be glad
to take
Chris
them up.
I think you have to be on the state's
have to be on the list.
list of bodies of water that they monitor and they include in
Correct.
their system. So once you get your pond or lake included in that system, then that opens up the opportunity for them to come around and they bring us trout, and which that's the only thing at Grants Branch that you can keep. I don't know if the pond at Blackberry would be big enough for trout. Or
Yeah,
not, or
Judge.
cool enough. It
Judge.
has to be cool.
I dealt with this fish thing before. You have to have a certain amount of fishable bank area before they'll stock it. I don't know how big that pond is.
Brandon, I don't know, but they come in there one year and they just wanted to stock it, but they wanted to kill everything in it and put little fish about that big in it. They said that's the only way they could stock it. So we bought a bunch of fish several years ago and stocked it, and it's supposed to be a catch and release.
We'll work with you to see if we can get that on the list.
Yeah,
if
put it on the
qualifies.
list.
Magistrate Dodson.
Well, Judge, let's see. I believe I'm just about to finish up with everything except I want to make a request. I noticed Charles Sanders had requested a copy of our, what was it, Roland? He's wanting to see our salaries and...
Mr. County Attorney, he asked you what had been filed with the county?
Open records, I believe. What
You made an open records request. I don't specifically remember what I requested. I think it was salary and all fixed expenses and travel reimbursements.
Vacations and all that. But, you know, I want to see if we can't go ahead and give that to him and let him look at it.
I'm sure.
And on the other hand, I like to play on a level playing field. I like to see all of his for help and hope. So I'm going to make a request by the court here and make a motion that we ask for his, you know, for him. He runs Help and Hope.
Have a motion and a second. Have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson.
Do we need to be?
I want us to file a motion for open records request for Help and Hope from the time they started over. To see where the monies is going that we...
Is that for the state auditor to look at it or for us?
They're financial records, you know.
Will that be ask the state auditor to do that and report to us, or just us ask for it? Okay.
Not an audit.
I know we give them quite a bit every year, don't we, Rhonda? And, you know, as we vote to see this money distributed, I'd like to see where it's going.
The motion by Magistrate Dodson, make sure I'll explain it truly, that we want them to file with the county, his organization, to file with the county all records, and since they have been in existence, all financial records to the Pike County Fiscal Court for review. Now, Judge Hayes or
I think the motion would be that to request the court to request that the county attorney make that in the form of an open records request.
That's the way it needs to be worded. Madam Clerk, did you get that? We have a motion. You have a second? Have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Mr. Murphy. Yes. Mr. Robinson. Mr. Dodson.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes.
Judge Rutherford.
Yes. Magistrate Dodson.
Judge, in closing, I'd just like to say that I don't know who's running the race on the newspaper, me or you. But it seems like every time I hear them, they got my name in there. And finally, they got something right. They said I was like Johnny Cash. I built one piece at a time on that building over there.
Yeah.
That's about the way we done it, one piece at a time. I think you was running for judge against Bill Deskins when we had our block laid and we had a platform out there in the open sky.
Right.
That was about 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, about 5 years ago.
So you can tell how long we've been building that building. And
it sounds like in the paper it's one contract and you build it in 1 year.
But you know, if you ain't got money, it's like dealing with
4
a budget.
years to build it. Yeah. Anything else?
Yeah, I ain't through yet. You know, if I made any mistakes on this job, I want to apologize to the people in this court, because every thing that was done over there was talked about, and we had some quotes, and we had our county attorney to advise us, and you was aware, and Bill Deskins was aware of what was going on. And if I made a mistake, it was a mistake done through the vote of the court, because I'm sure we paid every bill that was to be paid on that building. And then, they come out in the newspaper and said, I broke the law. I broke the bidding law. And if I did, I'm sorry. But I was advised on how to do the building one piece at a time. And we got it built, and it's a beautiful building. The people are using it every day, and they're not complaining one bit about it. And the public said that they really enjoy that little solid waste transfer station that you put over there, and they're using it every day. So I just want the newspaper to know that whatever I done, I'm sorry, Chris. If I made a mistake, and I apologize to the people, and you're welcome to come over anytime, like I invited you. And we go over the bills and all of our invoices, and we'll talk about the building and let you see what we've got over there. We're real proud of it. Judge, that's all I have.
Thank you, Magistrate Dotson. Magistrate Harris.
A song and send to Nashville. One bill at a time.
I'll just say this, Judge, on keeping on that same topic. I mean, the Phelps Road lot is a very nice building. Obviously, it should, collectively, according to the law, it probably should have been bid. But the bigger problem is that it got through this process, without it being caught. And I think we probably need to have an internal look at our procedures internally to make sure that situation. I don't think there's any bad intention on his part or on any of our parts in building that building. I don't think it was there. There's never been an allegation that Magistrate Dotson somehow profited from the building or did anything intentionally knowing. But that should have been something that was caught internally.
The audit closed that issue, Magistrate Harris, and the paper they didn't read that part. They said that was the end of it, but they didn't read it that way. They had to write their negative news story. Mm-hmm. They said it was being referred to nobody. It was over with. But go right ahead.
And I don't think there's anything there to look at. I mean, it was a mistake that was made. No, I don't think you ought to take the drastic steps that the newspaper's calling for. But I do think that we need to internally look at our policies and procedures to make sure that this kind of stuff doesn't slip through. I mean, because it can happen. And it did happen, and it wasn't on any fault of his intentional or mine intentionally or any other magistrate or the judge or anybody in the finance or the treasurer's office or any place that was done intentionally. It was just, it's one of those things that slipped through, and we need to try to have policies in place and make sure it doesn't happen again.
Go right ahead, Magistrate.
Okay. The first thing I want to mention is for Damus. We have some lighting at the Belfry Courthouse that we replaced the existing pole lights with parking lot lights. And now those pole lights are still up, and there's still an electric bill, I assume, associated with those pole lights. So if you don't care to go over and look at those and maybe take an inventory of the ones that need to come down, that may save us a little bit will save us a little bit on our electricity bill there. And that probably needs to come down. And also there's 3 just regular telephone poles at the Black Gym Park that has nothing on them. I don't know if that boom that we have, the electric boom truck, if that will pull those out of the ground and just dispose of them. We really don't have any use for them there. Okay, back up, yeah. Okay. Okay. On another issue, we're talking about our financial condition, and Judge, I'll be the first to say that it's not our legislators' responsibility or their fault that the county is in a bad financial way. It's just a culmination of a lot of things, a lot of environmental issues that have caused our revenue to be down and our expenses to be up. The least of which, or not the least of which, is our gasoline bills. I was looking at our gas bill this month, and it was almost $100,000 for the solid waste and the road department. That's a lot of money. But I did want to say this: even though it's not their fault that we're in this situation, they could have helped us out of this situation in this last budget. And I read some comments in the paper the other day by Senator Jones, and he keeps making these comments over and over again that it's illegal to fund debt service through coal severance money. And I know that's not true. It's been done before. It's been done many times. In fact, so many times, the facts that you sent me the other day, Judge, I started looking through it, and it's a copy of the most recent budget bill that was passed. This is the House Bill 265, and it was the state budget that was passed this year. And in that state budget this year, there is a line item for the Knott County Sportsplex bond payments. $825,000 next year and $900,000 the following year. That's in this year's budget. Okay? So it was in this year's budget that Senator Jones and our representatives voted on. So in addition to that, I said, well, I'm going to look back and see what was in any of these other budgets. So I looked back at the 2010 budget. I found immediately Perry County Fiscal Court retiring of the 2009 lease obligations, $2 million. So there's another $2 million. Mountain Water District in Pike County received $375,000 in the first year, $375,000 in the next year for debt service. It says in the budget it's for debt service. That's in the 2010 budget. So I went on back and I said, I want to see what else is there. So I go back to the 2008 budget. In the 2008 budget, the city of Pikeville got, and this is the way it's written, Bob Amos debt service. Okay, that's to the city of Pikeville. $150,000 in the first year, $150,000 in the second year. The exact same budget, city of Pikeville, Hambly Field debt service, $200,000 in the first year, $150,000 in the second year. So I said, I'm going to go on back, see how much further back we can go. So I go into the next budget. This is I go back to the 2004 budget, which has got the Pike County Fiscal Court for jail debt service, $750,000. So to say to the people and to the press and to the public that it's illegal to fund our debt service with coal severance money is simply not true. It's not true. And, the people of Pike County need to know that. They need to know that even though it's not the representatives' fault, our legislators' fault, they could have helped us out of this mess, and they didn't. So that being said, Judge, I want to say one more thing. They said that there were some comments to the effect that if we would have kept quiet or been more in line with them, maybe we could have gotten some debt service. Well, listen, I'm going to tell you right now, you start treating the people of Pike County fairly, the people that I represent fairly. If everybody gets their fair share, I'll be quiet and I'll get along with everybody. But as long as we're being taken advantage of, as long as we're not getting our fair share, I'm going to speak up and I'm going to say something about it, whether they like it or don't like it. That's the way I'm going to do it. So, on another issue, I did see and saw your comments on before the Public Service Commission on April the 4th, 2012. Your comments that were in opposition to the rate increase at the Public Service Commission. And I appreciate those comments, but I also want to remind you that Mountain Water District is in the process of evaluating their rates. And while we don't have anything to do with the Public Service Commission or American Electric Power rates, we do appoint the members to the Mountain Water Board. And that's something that this court has a serious investment in, and we have a responsibility to the people. So I hope that your comments, if they ask for an increase in their rates, I hope that your comments will be, you'll be just as vocal in opposition to those requests as well. That's all I have, Judge.
Thank you, Magistrate Harris. Next is Madam Treasurer.
Authorize any necessary transfers and interfund transfers to pay the bills, payroll, health, and life insurance.
Have a motion. Have a motion to have a second. Have a second from Magistrate Johnson. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy? Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson? Magistrate Harris? Judge?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford.
Yeah.
Acknowledge receipt of the previously approved transfers and interfund transfers for March 20th, 2012.
Have a motion. Have a motion, have a second. Have a second by Master Robinson. Have a roll call vote, please.
Master Anderson.
Yes.
Master Johnson.
Yes.
Master Murphy.
Yes.
Master Robinson. Master Dodson.
Yes.
Master Harris.
Yes.
Judge Rutherford.
Mr. County Attorney.
Judge, this is a first reading of a budget amendment, an ordinance relating to fiscal year 2011-2012 annual budget and amendment thereof. In summary form, Section 1, amended receipts, total amended revenues of $328,442.91. Subsection B, appropriations, total amended appropriations, $328,442.91. This is a first reading in summary form. It will have to be approved by the state local finance officer and duly advertised.
Madam Treasurer.
Authorize payment of the expenditure approval list dated April 16th, 2012, and any other utility and telephone bills received before the checks are run.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Have a motion, Master Robinson. To have a second?
Yes.
Have a second. Have a roll call vote, please.
Master Anderson.
Yes.
Master Johnson.
Yes.
Master Murphy. Yes. Master Robinson. Master Dodson.
Yes.
Master Harris.
Abstain.
Judge Rutherford.
Yeah.
Acknowledge receipt of the treasurer's March 2012 financial statement and third quarter financial statement for the period ending March 31st, 2012.
Do I have a motion? Have a motion. To have a second? Have a second. Have a roll call vote, please.
Master Anderson.
Yes.
Master Johnson.
Yes.
Master Murphy. Yes. Master Robinson. Master Dodson.
Yes.
Master Harris.
Yes.
Judge Rutherford.
Yes.
Authorize the issuance of a check in the amount of $25,000 to the Kentucky Hope from pass-through LGDF funds A386-01.
That's a pass-through check.
Can we hold that until after we get the records?
What was the question?
Can we hold the check until after we get the records that we've requested from the organization?
If the court desires, you can do that. Mr. County Attorney, they asked if they could hold the check until they got what your office is going to request.
My initial opinion is that they can. This is actually one of the issues that I want to talk to Department of Local Government about when Rhonda and I have a conference with them on whether or not what our legal obligations are as far as passing through severance tax money.
We'll pass that one till they come back and give us a report. Madam Treasurer.
Authorize the issuance of a check in the amount of $50,000, and I'll explain, to the Pike County Senior Citizens Program from pass-through LGDF funds A401-02. The budget only has $50,000, and they got a check for $100,000. I guess I hadn't amended in the other 50, so that's what's part of the budget amendment. So we'll do the next 50 once we get the budget amendment done. So 50 at this point, and then 50 when we get the budget amendment.
Madam Clerk, you'll note that. That's $50,000. Do I have a motion? Have a motion. Have a second. Master Murphy, have a roll call vote, please.
Master Anderson.
Yes.
Master Johnson.
Yes.
Master Murphy. Master Robinson. Master Dodson.
Yes.
Master Harris.
Yes.
Judge Rutherford.
Yes.
Authorize the issuance of a check in the amount of $2,500 to R.L. Cottle Construction Incorporated for seeding the property at Scott Fork, which will come out of recaptured funds.
Motion.
Motion, Master Harris. Have a second.
Second.
Have a second. Master Johnson, have a roll call vote, please.
Master Anderson.
Yes.
Master Johnson.
Yes.
Master Murphy. Yes. Master Robinson. Master Dodson.
Yes.
Master Harris.
Yes.
Judge Rutherford.
Madam Treasurer.
Authorize the registration fees for anyone who wishes to attend the East Kentucky Leadership Conference, April 26th and 27th, 2012 in Prestonsburg, Kentucky.
Have a motion. Motion, Master Murphy. Have a second. Have a second. Have a roll call vote, please.
Master Anderson.
Yes.
Master Johnson.
Yes.
Master Murphy. Yes. Master Robinson. Master Dodson.
Yes.
Master Harris.
Yes.
Judge Rutherford.
authorize the issuance of a check in the amount of $48,850 to TACO upon completion and inspection by Frank Hatcher. This is one of the joint efforts with the state's money and the county's money over it. This will be on Bridge Number 1, Rattlesnake Road in Hillman's District.
John, they don't have that bridge completed yet. I don't know if you want to write a check now or not, but I don't know who requested it, but it's...
Frank, you brought it up to me.
Motion is to authorize the
Frank-
payment as soon as Frank tells her that it's completed and.
Right, I checked with Randy and stuff, and he's got depending on the weather, 2 or 3 more days maybe, so I'll check with Randy, but they're gonna hold the check,
They're gonna
even
hold
if
the
it's
check.
cut, we're not releasing it.
They don't have the deck on the...
I know
bridge.
that. But I don't know who requested either. I don't know if they called Frankie or...
They called Frankie, brought the invoice.
The contractor was the one that requested the check because he said that he wanted some money to do him until, to finish that final bridge. He didn't want to wait till the next court meeting. He wanted to get it approved now, subject to it being finished, because he believes it'd be finished this week. And then once it's signed off on, then he doesn't have to wait 2 more weeks for another court meeting to get his money so he can start on the next bridge. Because this is one of the most expensive bridge that he built.
Yeah, we paid him for the other 2, didn't we?
Right.
Well, you know, if...
But it's all subject on that the bridge is completely finished and that the road commissioner signs off on it.
I wasn't satisfied with the other 2 bridges. I don't know if Frank was or not. I mean, he checked them out and inspected them, but I didn't like the way they were laid out. And Carl, you drive over them every day, and I'm sure you've seen a problem with them too. And I'm hoping that this next one will be better.
When he contacts me or Randy to go inspect them, I'll call you too, because I told him, no, we're not releasing it.
If you don't want to and just want
I'll go ahead and make a
And I don't
motion
know
that
if the
once
check
it's
cut or
completed,
not.
if it's completed between now and the next court meeting, then we go ahead and pay it.
Well,
That's what the request was.
What's your pleasure? You want to hold it to the next court meeting or hold it till it's inspected and what do you?
Judge, I just said I'd make, if it is completed before the next court meeting,
Have a motion?
John can hold the check and then give it to Frank.
Have a second. Got a motion, need a second, have a second, have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy? Yes. Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes, Madam Treasurer.
This is on the agenda. Authorize a check when the NRCS funds are received to Blake and Associates Incorporated for appraisals in the amount of $2,400, $1,200 each for Jeffrey Dotson and William Ireson properties.
Pass through money, we have a motion, have a second, Mr. Robinson, have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson? Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy? Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes. Madam Treasurer.
I have no further business, Judge. Trying to
John, did the guy that done the work on the swimming pool, did he get the bill? He discussed it with me and Damus over what work he'd already done. And I told him he need to had his bill in by the 10th to get paid for what work he's already done. Damus, did you inspect it? What are you going to do on that?
Who's the company?
You was over there same time I was with him. We saw what he'd done on the line, like we talked a while ago, the line from the pool back to the pump, he thought was what was leaking, and he checked all that, and that wasn't the problem. It's the problem from the pump back to the pool. That's the one he's quoting now.
The bill, I think Damus is one he quoted us before. What was it, $2,500? He'd fix the problem, and he dug out, about 3 or 4 places.
Yes.
And he indicated to me when you were there that he was wanting to pay for that work. He done sent somebody up here, what did he say, 4 times?
Yeah, but I haven't seen a bill, so I don't know.
So you don't,
No.
well, he didn't send it to you, John? Okay.
I've not seen that. Do you remember anything, Frank?
I've not seen no bill.
Brandon, did you have something?
Yeah, quickly, Judge, before you went into executive session, Coach Haywood had sent a letter he asked me to read.
Go right ahead.
Go ahead and get it over with, as I promised him I would. It says, Judge Rutherford and the Fiscal Court wanted to drop you a note, say thank you for the honor you bestowed upon me at the March 21st court meeting. I was deeply touched and humbled by your kind words and your thoughtful presentation. My wife, Linda, was unable to attend as our daughter had back surgery the previous Friday, and she was staying with her as she recovered. I mentioned that to a few of you, but not share that with everyone. Linda was very excited about her certificate and wanted to say thank you. She put her heart and soul into working with the senior citizens in the Belfry area for many years. She was very appreciative of your consideration of her. On behalf of both of us, we want you to thank Judge Rutherford, the Pike County Fiscal Court, and all who participated in this recognition. May God bless you as you continue to work for Pike County. Sincerely, Philip Haywood.
Thank you, Brandon. Judge Hayes, do we have anything that need to go into executive session on in regard to?
We need an executive session, I understand.
I'll make a motion pursuant to KRS 61-810 C and F. We move into executive session to discuss specific personnel matters or pending or threatened litigation.
Have a second, Mr. Murphy. Have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy? Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson? Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Pike County Fiscal Court, we'll have a motion to go back into regular session, please. We have a motion. We have a second by Magistrate Robinson. Have a roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy? Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Harris? Judge Rutherford?
Yes. Judge Hayes on the personnel.
Judge Personnel has the following recommendations. Heavy equipment operator, road lot number 1 at Johns Creek, a 5H pay rate. We recommend as the qualified employee for that job of the 3 bidders, Chris Epling. Next, Judge, mini packer driver at solid waste area number 1 at Johns Creek, a 3H pay rate. No one bid on that posting. Next, a mini packer driver, solid waste area number 3 at Robinson Creek, 3H pay rate. 2 bidders, but one was disqualified because he had cross-bid within the last 12 months, so the only qualified bidder was Jeffrey Varney, who is a full-time employee with CDLs. He is a qualified employee, and we recommend Jeffrey Varney. Next, Judge, we need to acknowledge the resignation of Jackie Queen as of March the 31st, 2012. He was a seasonal employee at the Grants Branch Park and had been so employed for a number of years. Next, approval to hire Lester D. Stanley as a temporary seasonal employee for the Grants Branch Park at a 2H pay rate effective April 1st, 2012. He is replacing the aforementioned Jackie Queen, who resigned. Judge, this next one I'm going to split it out into 2 for the purpose of voting. We need approval to hire Roy M. Dotson, Travis Eldridge, Michael Coleman, and Dustin McGuire as seasonal mowers and weed eaters for the Public Works Department at a 2H pay rate effective April the 2nd, 2012. And Judge, if we could vote on that one so we could vote on the second one.
Do I have that's my recommendation. Do I have a motion on to hire the 3 that Judge Hayes had?
There are 4, Judge. Roy M. Dodson, Travis Eldridge, Michael Coleman, and Dustin McGuire.
Motion, Magistrate Johnson. Have a second. Have a second. Have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Is this the vote on the 4?
This is just a vote on the seasonal, so those 4, yes.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy? Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Okay.
And Judge, in the same position, seasonal mower, personnel recommends the hiring of Rodney S. Justice in the Public Works Department at a 2H pay rate effective April 2nd, 2012, and request that a vote be taken on that employee. I'm sorry.
We need a motion on that one, on Rodney S. Justice.
It's your recommendation, Judge.
It's my recommendation and my motion Do we have a second? No second.
Judge, in light of that, he has been working for a period of time, and I need to recommend that we have the records of the county reflect that he was hired temporarily and as a temporary employee on April the 2nd, 2012, worked as a seasonal weed mower at a 2H pay rate subject to approval by this court today, and he was not approved by reason of failure to receive a second. So he should be paid through today, and the records will reflect that he is will be terminated as of today.
My recommendation, my motion. We have a second.
Second.
Have a second, Magistrate Johnson. Have a roll call vote.
Magistrate Anderson.
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson.
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy. Yes. Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dotson.
Yes.
Magistrate Harris.
Yes.
Judge Rutherford.
Judge Hayes.
Continuing with the recommendations, personnel judge, I need to acknowledge the resignation of Eunice Ward as of April the 2nd, 2012. Ms. Ward had been the caretaker at the Kemper Community Center since January 5th, 2010. We need judge and recommend the approval to extend by an additional 6 months pursuant to the Pike County Administrative Code the absence of Randall Hill. He's off work on a work-related injury, still under a doctor's care. He is a mechanic at the maintenance garage, and has been off work on workers' comp since October 24, 2012. Finally, Judge, we need approval to hire Samantha R. Sloan as a special employee with no benefits for the Kemper Community Center at a pay rate of $200 per month, effective April the 23rd, 2012. Those are personnel recommendations.
My recommendation and my motion to have a second on the others. That's Chris Epplin, Jeffrey Varney, and the other one. Have a second from Magistrate Robinson. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson.
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson. Yes. Magistrate Murphy. Yes. Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dodson.
Yes.
Magistrate Harris.
Yes.
Judge Rutherford.
Yes. Does any commissioner or director have any questions or any statements you want to make? If not, we'll have a motion to adjourn.
Excuse me, Leo,
Go ahead,
Judge.
Magistrate. Oh,
One thing.
the time on the meeting.
On the meeting for the 27th, I'd like for approval of the court to change the time from 10 to about 1:30 in the afternoon.
1:30 in the afternoon. Madam Clerk, make that note. They will be in a meeting out of town, and they will have to come back in that day, so that to give them more time to drive back in. A motion to adjourn. Have a motion, have a second, have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson, Johnson, Murphy, Robinson, Dotson, Harris, and Judge Rutherford.